René Magritte. B. Lessons, 1898. D. Brussels, 1967. Belgian painter René Magritte was a leading figure in the Surrealist movement. His alter ego, who frequently appears in his pictures, was an anonymous bowler-hatted clerk, who lived as Magritte did in a Brussels suburb. Magritte's artistic hero was the influential Italian painter Giorgio de Chirico, although his own images seemed to inhabit a more commonplace world. In 1927, he moved to Paris, where he met members of the Surrealist group, including André Breton, Jean Arp, Salvador Dali, and Joan Miro. He returned to Belgium in 1930. Magritte's paintings explore a dreamlike irrationality, where positive becomes negative, glass holds the image seen through it, and different realities collide. He reveals the slippery nature of language, challenges solidity and scale, and queries the relationship between art and the visible world. Lifeline. 1910 Magritte's mother commits suicide, 1916-18 studies at Académie Royale des Beaux-Arts, Brussels, 1922 works briefly as a wallpaper designer, 1927 moves to Le Perreux-sur-Marne, near Paris, 1930 returns to Belgium, 1936 exhibits at the Fantastic Art, Dada, Surrealism show at MoMA in New York. 1951-53 produces murals for Knock-Lizard Casino, Belgium, 1965 first visit to New York. For a retrospective of his work. This is not a pipe, also known as the treachery of images, or the air and the song. This image seems contradictory, but is, in reality, exactly what it says. 1928-1929, oil on canvas, 65 by 94 centimeters, Los Angeles County Museum of Art, U.S. The Empire of Lights. In this, one of three versions of this painting, day and night are visible simultaneously, creating a typically dreamlike and irrational surrealist scene. 1953-54, oil on canvas, 195 by 131 centimeters, Peggy Guggenheim Collection, Venice, Italy. Closer look. Night or day? This is a play on our usual expectations of day and night, but the glow of the street light and from within the house seem to confirm that it is after dark. The human condition here, Magritte plays with relationships between art and nature, inside and outside, solid and transparent, coincidence and design. The tree is seen in the picture in the room, and one assumes, in the landscape too. 1933, oil on canvas, 100 by 81 centimeters, National Gallery of Art, Washington, D.C., U.S. Maria Martins. B. Campagna, 1894. D. Rio de Janeiro, 1973. Maria Martins, a Brazilian diplomat, was married to Brazil's ambassador to the U.S. During the 1940s, she had great success as a surrealist sculptor in Paris and New York, and her work was bought by important museums. She became the lover of artist Marcel Duchamp, and was the inspiration for his last major work, Et Dans. Executed in a variety of materials, Martins's own work draws upon Amazonian Indian mythology and possesses a wild and erotic energy. Impossible 3, her best-known work, this sculpture depicts male and female characters locked in perpetual opposition. Their heads have been morphed into a menacing series of tentacles that simultaneously touch and threaten each other, expressing the irresistible attraction and insurmountable incompatibility between men and women. 1946, bronze, 80 by 83 by 53 centimeters, MoMA, New York, U.S. Witredo Lam. Bisagua La Grande, 1902, D. Paris, 1982. Cuban-born artist Witredo Lam lived in Europe for 15 years, where he absorbed Cubism and Surrealism and befriended Pablo Picasso. After returning to his native island in 1941, Lam immersed himself in his Afro-Cuban cultural heritage, spending the next decade exploring the spiritual traditions of the Santeria religion within a modernist style. In Lam's Santeria paintings, devotees give offerings and perform rituals as they wait to be mystically united with their deities, orishas, by means of sacred trance. Breaking apart form in a Cubist manner, Lam imbues the primitivism of Picasso with a new and vibrant spiritual energy. The great jungle or light in the forest Lam, who observed ceremonies of the Santeria religion at first hand, portrayed ecstatic bodies in the process of transformation and merging with the lush surrounding foliage. 1942, oil on paper laid on canvas, private collection. Closer look. Head start. The crescent shapes and multiple eyes on lamb's figures reflect the process of trance. The African-based Santeria religion believes gods enter the head first, mounting their believers like horses. Fertility. The prominent breasts resemble ripe fruit, and thus function as bodily offerings to the gods. On another level they hint at fertility, revealing humanity's natural place within the fecundity of nature. Matta Echaurren. B. Santiago, 1912, D. Tarquínia, 2002. In autumn 1937, Chilean-born Matta Echaurren met André Breton and joined the Surrealists. He absorbed two important innovations, biomorphism and automatism. Biomorphism, creating abstract art that evokes organic forms, enabled him to develop an organic and semi-abstract pictorial language, while automatism, a kind of free association, gave his brush strokes a spontaneity he believed sprang from his subconscious. Echaurren's art conceptually fused subject and process. He poured, wiped, and sponged thin glazes of color to build up a multi-layered translucent surface. To Echaurren, his works were inscapes, or psychological morphologies, analogies for states of consciousness and perpetual transformation. Echaurren moved to New York in 1939, where he had a significant impact on the developing abstract expressionist movement. Invasion of the Night. Echaurren likened the inner workings of the human psyche to the fiery and seismic eruptions of volcanoes. 1941, oil on canvas, 96 by 153 centimeters, San Francisco Museum of Modern Art, U.S. Remedios Varo. BNGLS, 1908, D. Mexico City, 1963. The Spanish artist Remedios Varo began her involvement with the Surrealists in Paris in the 1930s as the companion of the poet Benjamin Parate. Due to the political turmoil in Europe, the couple emigrated to Mexico in 1941, where Varo would remain for the rest of her life. In Mexico she began a close friendship with the British painter Leonora Carrington, and together they studied alchemy and other mystical traditions. Her paintings often portray women in dreamlike settings, embarking on journeys of exploration both mythical and scientific. Riding atop fantastical vehicles of transit, Varo's haunting female characters also sport a sly humor. Between 1942 and 1949, Varo supported herself by doing commercial illustrations for a pharmaceutical firm in Mexico. Done under the pseudonym Aranga, these small gouaches gave her the opportunity to develop her personal surrealist style. 1947, gouache, 24.5 by 32 centimeters, private collection. In context. International movement. In contrast to most other avant-garde movements, Surrealism involved artists of many nationalities and did not prescribe one style. This internationalism was supported by the publication of journals, surrealist movements springing up in different countries, and by artists and writers moving from place to place. The home of Surrealism remained Paris, however. André Breton, the writer and poet André Breton, 1896 to 1966, was one of several European Surrealists who spent time in Latin America. He visited Mexico in 1938, declaring it a Surrealist country. In turn, many artists from Latin America visited the Surrealist capitals of Paris and New York.